Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers across the globe. I'm Uttarun Chaudhary from hashtag Go Viral to Stop the Virus. And with me today is Gusti Wiz, the amazing artist from Indonesia. Let me take a moment and introduce you to Gusti. Gusti Wiz is a magician of patterns, a sorcerer of lines, a master of detailing. He creates art on giant canvases, art which is resplendent with details, lines, mazes, spaces, and negative spaces. Gusti Wiz, the renowned artist from Indonesia, is our guest today. So, hi, Gusti. How are you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm
Good
fine.
morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Greetings from Bali, Indonesia.
Right. And what time is it at Bali right now? It's night, right?
It's about something, yeah. uh, half an hour before midnight.
Okay. So, it's wonderful to talk to you, Gusti. So, our viewers have been amazed by your art. I'm a big fan. As in when I see your art, I so unconsciously there's a smile on my face when I stand in front of that immensely complicated canvas of yours, where all those lines and images and spaces and negative spaces they appear. I feel like swimming in them. I feel I'm standing in front of a sea, and it's an incredible feeling. So, Gusti, to start with, I would like to ask you about your childhood. About it, did you grow up in Bali? How did you? What's your journey? How did you become an artist from a child?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank you because you make this happen. And I find it very thrill that you finally somebody in the another part of the world have a very good appreciation to my
Oh, thank
life
you,
doing. And go viral is very good initiation from you, and
thank you.
I give you two thumb.
All right.
But
Yes.
yes, I grew up as a normal child, yeah. But my family moving a lot, you know, since I was, yeah, as my father told me that we moving a lot since
Mm-hmm.
I was a baby, moving from my town in the north, in the Buleleng region, and then to the south part of the island in
Okay.
Bali, yeah, Indonesia.
All right.
We moving about 10 times before
Oh,
before we settle. When I got my what is senior high school in Singaraja back on my hometown.
all
This
right.
movie make me I have to adapt to a new environment, new
Okay.
friend, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of new things come to me, and then suddenly I am in the position that I have always to be adapt
All
in
right.
every situation.
All right.
And then about art, how it bring me to my art. Actually, I have no idea about art
Okay.
because in my family there's no artist.
Okay.
Uh, I only heard about the story about my grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is I did not know in person because he was died long before I was born.
Okay.
So I only heard the story about him,
All right.
how great he was and how he can master about dancing, and then gamelan, like Balinese music, and also he has made some beautiful paintings also, but I can never find
Hmm.
one particular work of art from him.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I just grew up with the story of him. Like
All right.
I make this image in my own perception about him.
Okay.
And then suddenly I was, in the position when I have to work
All right.
because my family cannot afford to bring me to the college.
I
And
understand.
then I have to work. I
Hmm.
collecting money, and then after 5 years of working, I have some money to enter the art institute in
Okay.
uh, in Denpasar, Bali. It
Okay.
was in 2003. I finally made my way to the art institute, and
Okay.
then yeah, there I was.
Wonderful,
And then
wonderful. So you've the best part I believe about your life is you've had so many different exposures because you've moved so much. You've made
yes,
new friends, you adapted, and I really like the fact that you created an image of your grandfather from stories you've heard inside your mind, right? And so I
yes,
feel that,
exactly.
yeah, that is so very interesting. I mean, I have a very similar story about my grandfather because, people tell me that I look like him and I talk like him. I've never met him, but I have a picture of him in my mind, and so I can relate to you. So this is great, and so I would like to ask you the next question, Gusti, which is
Okay.
and before I ask you the next question, I would tell you that because we are live, a lot of people are watching, and some of them are actually writing questions to us right now. So
Yes.
this friend of ours called Opu Bandopadhyay, he's written this question where he asks you that do you know about the famous painter Afandi of
Funny.
yes, and would you want to say a few words about that painter before I move to the next question?
Oh yeah, Afandi is one of the. I think is also my idol. Yeah, because
Wow.
he's been in India,
Okay.
eh, and he made some good drama there in India, in
Okay.
some like some academy in India. He made
Hmm.
like this discussion, and it's very epic. And I
All right.
think he's one of let's say my idol because uh, the first uh, before I went to painting like I paint today, I really love how to express the way Afandi does,
Okay.
the way Afandi did. Expression, all about expression.
Hmm.
Uh, but somehow I come to the point that I don't need any story to express my
All right.
expression because the line itself has his own language. And
Yes.
I'm very curious in that. So I just, yeah, emphasizing that with texture, with,
Yeah.
yeah,
With lines and lines within those lines, and it
yes,
is completely. I feel that it's when I look at your paintings. I'm looking at a Balinese epic where there are stories within
yeah,
stories, and it is extremely complex and detailed, and it is literally mesmerizing. So yes,
yeah.
so now I move to the next question, which is, uh, what is art to you? As
Art
in
for
deep
me.
inside, like various artists have various expressions and various ideas about the word art. So I have a
Mhm.
feeling that art for you might be a quest to find your
Uh,
language. So
yeah.
would you tell us about what art is for you.
For me, uh, is yeah, art for me is like like breathing,
Wow.
you know, because when you think of that, you you can do nothing.
Right.
When you're only thinking about that, and then suddenly your life is skipped,
Right.
and then you suddenly realize that art is the life itself, because when you cross to someone else path, and then you just following them, and
Mhm.
then yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, I love the fact that you said art is like breathing. And I understand that when you say that when you start painting, when you start creating art, you wouldn't know how much time has passed because
Yeah,
time suddenly seems to just skip away
yeah,
and you're completely immersed in your art
yeah,
and you're creating it because it's so detailed.
yeah,
And, and suddenly you look up and you see almost 4 hours have passed, right?
yeah,
So that is, and it is
because
like,
time is very, time is very tricky, intriguing, because
wow,
uh, time is like an abstract situation. When you're sleeping all day, 10 days will be uh, passed without you knowing.
right.
But when you start by painting, you
Hmm.
you consume the same amount of time, and then suddenly you realize what have you went through.
Wonderful. So when you do nothing, time seems to pass. But when you
Yeah,
actually create, when you consume that time and you create something out of it, I mean, time literally stands still in front of you. Time
yeah,
actually stands like a wall, which is like a canvas, and you've literally captured time using your
yeah,
art. That is
yeah.
wonderful. Okay, so that makes us move to the next question. That
Okay.
how have you been influenced by the culture of your country? How has the Balinese culture? How has it influenced you?
Balinese, yeah. Balinese art, yeah, teach me a lot of thing about confidence, yeah, about this craftsmanship, because when you see particular Balinese paintings like that,
Hmm.
it convey canvas with such details.
Okay.
Every single what is it, corner of the canvas will
Hmm.
be full with lines, figures, and motifs, and
Okay.
etc. And it teach me how to be patient
Wow. Okay. Okay.
with I think patience should be in many form of yeah, many kind aspect of the life itself, yeah? Because when you are controlled by your emotion, and then you cannot see very clear, you
Right.
will be in the midst of something, yeah, you get lost.
Right.
And then when you start to pick the stone slowly, one by one,
Right.
and then you can see clear. You
Right.
can see clear yourself or somebody else.
Wonderful.
That's
So it's like your mind suddenly calms down and you get to see every detail. Suddenly, you feel patient. You feel in control.
in control sometimes. But also, in the other hand, in control should be not like in control like that.
Right.
Because sometimes you cannot control anything.
Absolutely. So art is actually about losing control at times when art takes control over the artist.
Yeah, because my hand, my eyes, my mind is only a tool actually.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
And then when you, yeah, releasing it, sometimes you can feel that the freedom itself is like being in the what is it, in the connection itself,
Wow.
in
Okay.
the the freedom is inside that, you know time and space.
Wow.
Because when you are completely free, then you have nothing to say. You
It's
out
almost
free.
aimless. Yeah, it's if you're
Yeah,
completely free without any bounds, it's almost like you're it's like, say, imagine water. So if water is free, water floats and flows away. But if you keep water in a glass, or say in a vessel somewhere where it is bound, right?
yeah.
And that is when water is meaning. So you can drink it. So
You get,
you can look at yourself in it. And so I understand. I
yeah, that's
understand.
the culture what I see that grew up in me. Sometimes I look at my fellow artists in, yeah, in the Balinese. They keep doing this tradition, yeah, and then yeah, like this symbols pattern that they are repeating every day, that keep me mesmerized,
Mm-hmm.
meanings, and also the message.
Right.
Then that's keep me also questioning about the art, and also how people thinking, how
Mm-hmm.
people seeing, and
Right.
to the world, and also to the reality. Because reality for me is like only a perspective, how you
Wonderful.
see.
Yes, yes, yes. As in the reality, I believe everyone's realities are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that, so
that's
that's
the culture that I grew up. And then yeah.
so.
at
So
one
let me.
point
Mm-hmm.
at one point when I started to draw a line, and then when your breathing is reaching this what is a point, and
Okay.
then you start to thinking about your body, and then there will be a thought that storming in your brain, and then you
Mm-hmm.
start move another way, just like that.
Okay. Okay.
And then
So it's like your hand moves with your thoughts. Like, when you're thinking, your hand is moving. So you instantly, say you think about something else, and then it's almost like writing. When you're writing, say writing a poem, and suddenly you hear this beautiful music. The music
yeah.
enters your poem, and it enters your writing, and it forms the next words. So is it similar for you?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But in my what is uh creativity process, I want to minimize them. Because when you what is give up on your thought, you get
Mm-hmm.
lost.
Right.
Sometimes I had to hear, but my conscience says.
Right. Wow.
Maybe people say it the soul, because the head, your brain,
Mm-hmm.
tell everything in a very enigma, always a question. Your brain
Mm-hmm.
cannot tell you about the reality, the truth.
Hmm.
He only tell you about consequences.
Okay, logic. Yes.
logic.
Right.
Because there's nothing logic about life.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Yes, yes, of course. I mean, life like art actually has no logic if you look deep. Yes.
Yeah. That is why yeah, sometimes I argue with the thought itself, with the brain itself, with the mind,
Hmm.
and then I start to point a line,
Right.
and then he will push me to go another way.
Okay.
It's just like that, like a play,
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
and
So
I
it's
let them
like,
play
r-
together.
right, right. So it is like, you're drawing a line and then the line tells you to move somewhere. So it's like you're playing with your tool. And that play, that it's almost like how the galaxy was formed. It's
Uh,
almost like the play between planets, the play of a big bang, and then suddenly everything is settling down. All the planets are emerging, the stars are emerging. It's like a cosmic play that is happening, and so that happens every day in our minds, and that happens all the time in your canvas. That is
oh,
that is great. And so, Gusti, I would like you to ask you, like, why do you work on such large canvases, Gusti?
large
Because
canvas.
right now behind you I can
Uh-huh.
see a giant canvas, so that's like just a
Yeah,
part of your work, right? So it
yeah,
stretches on both sides. It is giant, and on
yeah,
it we
yeah.
can see the intricate details of your art. So tell me, why do you, because you have a thing about big canvases. I've seen you work on like a canvas which is like on the ground on which you're painting.
Yeah,
I've seen images if you do that. So tell us, like, do you feel comfortable with such a vast space to work on? And why such large canvases?
yeah, large canvas. Yeah, it's just like my obsession, maybe. But your you know your patient yeah,
Hmm.
has people say your patient has limit.
Okay.
I want to push that limit, and I don't believe that. But on my work, I see that life itself is like span so wide, so big,
Hmm.
and so absurd. You know,
Wow. Okay.
uh, if you put it on this tiny space, there will be, you know,
You won't be able to capture the details of it.
even when I capture it in the big canvas, like I did with 10 meters
Hmm.
times 2.5, I also cannot find the meaning.
Okay.
I keep pushing that limit. When you trying like what I did with this particular technique with should I can I use this like this can that you use it for glue
Mm-hmm.
gluing like this silicone rubber. You have to
Right.
press very hard
Right.
because the texture itself is
Mm-hmm.
very thick, and yeah, you have to press it so hard. So you can find this line,
Right.
small and thick. You keep pushing it. It's somehow to what is that's what I call about expression.
Mm-hmm.
Expression itself has the word press.
Oh wow. Yes. Yes.
Press
Yes.
it.
Right.
But when you make it only on small canvas,
Mm-hmm.
you don't completely express yourself.
I understand. I
It's just
understand.
like this and then finish. But just like uh, in life, when you're doing something, you think that you reaching the goal, you
Hmm.
reaching the harbor, but somehow you have to walk to another station,
Right.
to another destination, and it's never stop actually.
Yeah, it goes on. Yes, yes, yes. Because
It goes
whenever you
on
reach
like
somewhere
that.
else, it's like your life, right? Before you settle down, you had to move to 10 different places, and you're still moving. I mean, you're still moving in your mind. Your art is moving. You're changing, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly, exactly.
right, right. So I get it now. And the two things which I loved in what you said, I loved everything, but like two most important things is this concept of pressing. Because
Pressure.
see, in this technique, you use a solution of gum, right, which you have to
Yeah,
press out of a tube, is it?
yeah, the tube. Yeah,
Yes. And so it requires hard work. It requires strength of your fingers. You have to press it out to form those, thick and small lines, and you have to press
yeah,
it all over the canvas.
yeah,
And if the canvas is big, so it gives you more field to go around doing it patiently to
yeah,
ensure that not one line touches the other. It's like a
yeah.
complete maze. And this way, it's also an exercise of patience. It's an exercise of your artistic skills, and it is also an exercise of expression.
Hmm.
So I mean, when you said this, I was amazed because when I look at your art, this is what I feel, that what patience and what strength must have it taken to create something like that. That is, thank you so much, Justi. And okay, so
You're
I'll move.
welcome.
Yes, so I'll move to the next question, which is, say, Augusti, when the pandemic was raging, I mean, it's still
Right.
raging through various parts of the world. Like right now, it's raging through India, and there are 22,000 people who are getting infected every day. And,
Yeah,
and, and so when it
definitely.
was happening in Indonesia, when it was happening in Bali, what was how did you feel as an artist? Like when that atmosphere of dread and anxiety was everywhere, and what did you feel as an artist you should do at that point in time?
Oh yeah. Uh, it's like that. I'm an artist. Also, I'm human. Yeah, it's normal that people get worried, get
Of course.
anxiety. Yeah, that is part of the part the living creatures.
Yes.
But I fear most with the another virus that coming after the corona. That is the desperado virus.
Okay.
That people get desperate and then he they denied their their logic, they denied their faith,
Mm-hmm.
they denied everything that they learn and they born with. Actually, that is the most you know sad situation that I facing. People doesn't really uh, they forget that they learn about this science, this
Mm-hmm.
religion, even,
All right.
and yeah, they don't get into that.
I
And
understand.
I think what you do with this initiation is uh, the new paradigma, yeah? The concept that actually virus in the real life they become viral and they join forces
Yes.
to
Yes.
create this terror. I think every day somebody dies with
Mm-hmm.
many natural causes, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's normal, it's the part of the cycles of the life itself.
Right.
And when you are in the desperate situation, you can do nothing.
I
Only
understand.
by moving, by working,
Hmm.
you living.
Right. You can only live through your work at that point of time. So, as an artist who's working during the pandemic, so did you think that, if you work and if you represent this time in your work, I mean,
Hmm.
this is a way in which you can give hope to people that you're
Yeah.
you're actually working during such a dreadful time and you're creating such beautiful art at this
Yes.
point in time. And so that'll give people hope. That'll make people feel relieved that see, when the only thing people were thinking about was how to avoid this infection, how to stay alive, and at this point in time, this artist was actually working and was creating such great art.
Yes, actually, uh, the time when we have to rethink about our perception in life, and also the meanings behind what we are facing. Uh, in in my experience, let's say like that. Um, in Bali, Bali is a tourism
Right.
island. We are very, you know, dependent with the tourism,
Mm-hmm.
Bali, because almost let's say 70% of the economic lies in the tourism.
Right.
And when everything collapses like the pandemic, everybody should refreshing their concept about economy.
I understand.
The drivers, the hoteliers,
Mm-hmm.
they start to farming like that. They start cultivating rice, vegetables for themselves. We
Right.
start to what is it? To back to our basic beliefs. Only food
Mm-hmm.
that keeps you alive. No, no dollar, no money can save
Right.
you. While a big bank bankrupt
Mhm.
by this
Right.
situation.
Right. So
So
it is only your inner drive.
the only value is the food, very basic need for the people.
Right.
And then people suddenly have to, yeah, to see what you need and
Hmm.
what you want.
I understand. So that is that is truly a very practical thing you said, and I would right now move to say four of your artworks, and some that you've created before the pandemic, some
Yeah,
that you've created during the pandemic, and
yeah,
we talk about it a little, and we would also you know try to listen to the beautiful stories that are behind every piece of art, because all the works of art that you create, I mean, all of them have such fascinating stories. I want you to share them with our viewers. So first I'll
yeah.
share the screen here, and I'll move to our first artwork here. Wait a second, just give me a second, please. Yes. So
Oh
this
yeah.
is the first artwork that we'll talk about. It's called Given Identities. We're saying make given identities go viral. So what you told me about this artwork, Gusti, is when you started doing it for the first time, you looked at these extremely intricate lines, and you
Yeah,
felt an headache. You felt your head aching,
yeah,
and then through this pain, you gradually realize that all these lines and the spaces between these lines are trying to tell you something. So if you we'll be glad if you could talk to us about this painting, please. This thing.
yes. I remember when I started with this technique in 2019 in
Mm-hmm.
December. Yeah, in December I started with black, yeah, with black line.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at that point, it was not really, black make you feel you are in comfort and confident. But when I start to paint this one,
Mm-hmm.
I make the canvas gray, and then I start to draw the line on white,
Right.
right? And then uh, it uh, it form itself like that.
Wow.
When I take the distance about 2 meters away, two
Okay.
meters away from this painting, I feel this dizziness, uneasy. I feel uneasy, just
Okay.
like I'm standing with a very small raft on the in the ocean.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
You almost get drowned,
Mm-hmm.
and you cannot step away from that. It's
Right.
it's it keep you occupied with that. Somehow, I think this experience is
Mm-hmm.
attract me so much. It's like obsession in my mind that what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Did I created that, or he created me?
Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. Did this art create you? Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Something like it's
All
like
right.
like a discussion between us. I sometimes like I got sometimes this feeling that did I did that, or he only using me
Mm-hmm.
for his existence, you know?
Wow. Yes. And so
Yeah.
is this art trying to, use you as a vessel, and is this art trying to say something? I mean, those words, those, I when I look at this article, Given Identities, I feel that, this is talking about my subconscious, your subconscious. I mean, subconscious of a viewer. So
Yeah.
through this art, what it has done is it has taken you as a tool, and it has expressed its own subconscious through it. And so many intricate lines. I mean, I would quickly like to show our viewers how detailed this is. Like, look at this. See, see all these intricate lines. I mean, no line, no, not even a single one, I mean, is intersecting or they're touching each other. They're like, a complete maze, like, detailed lines. And these lines, they're coming together, and they're telling us a story. It's almost like, as I said earlier, I'm looking at a Balinese epic where there are stories within stories, and there are more stories. And what I love about this uh, painting is it gives me a sense of identification. So the given identities are the identities of everyone, every viewer who looks at it. And it also gives us a very interesting sense of rhythm. I mean, this
Hmm.
rhythm, which is, I mean, it is not random. It is not haphazard. It is almost like, it is like the sea. There's a flow. It's like it has a natural rhythm, a natural movement, and that is what fascinates me, Gusti, about this. So with your
Okay.
permission, Gusti, I'll move. Before I move to the next art, I would like to show you, something which I have not planned before, but I would like to show you the art of Jackson Pollock. Have you?
Uh,
I mean, have you? So here is Jackson Pollock.
yeah, Jackson.
So yeah, so when I see your art, I mean, this is the feeling it gives me. So see, I have been personally, I've stood in front of a Jackson Pollock painting, quite a few of them, in
Oh,
MoMA, New York. I was there. I was standing with my wife with me, and we were both looking at the painting, and I was telling her that this moment, right now, please note this moment for the rest of your life, because we'll be able to tell our children and our grandchildren that we stood in front of a Jackson Pollock. And so
Yeah.
look at this, when I see a painting by Jackson Pollock, I see this beautiful interplay of rhythm and randomness, colors and coordination, interplay of meaning and symbolism, interplay of abstraction,
Yeah.
interplay of happenstance. And this amazes me. And so I would like to say that, when I look at your paintings, I mean, this is the feeling that I get, this thing,
Oh,
right?
thanks.
So, all right. So with your permission, I'll move from the Jackson Pollock painting to the next painting of yours.
Yes.
Yes, it says, make the desert rose go viral. So this painting, I mean, this canvas is called the Desert Rose.
Yes.
And would you want to talk about it? This one. This is your latest one. You created this during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. This actually, you know, actually a couple of days ago, a friend from yeah, I knew them for quite a while, for
Mm-hmm.
quite 6 or 7 years also.
Okay.
Uh, they lived in Middle East.
Okay.
They came, yeah, 7 years ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then suddenly they keep asking about uh, our how we are in Bali, how we are up against this pandemic, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they send me a picture of uh, birthday cake. How
Okay. A
sweet,
birthday.
how sweet is it? And then
Right.
that that all of a sudden that gives me this uh,
Inspiration.
aspiration, yeah. And then I'm doing it with red like this, and then like this sugar
Icing.
icing on the top of it. It's very sweet. That is the feeling when you get engaged with a, a friend, yeah, a
Right.
friend, that a real
Right.
friend, like
Okay.
more than a family itself. That is just very sweet and warm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the kind of feeling that that's very pure, that from your heart, that saying.
Wonderful. It's
that is
wonderful.
what
Yeah,
that's why I call it the desert rose.
because it's from the Middle East. Yes, yes, yes. I get it now. When I looked at this, my interpretation was like, of course, I could smell the sweetness
Yeah.
because a rose smells sweet. So in this painting, in this work of art, when I see these icing-like lines on top of the canvas, which is almost mauvish, pinkish, and then these lines, they move around them. I felt that it began with a rose in the middle. I could see the rose,
Yeah.
I could see the
Oh yeah.
petals unfolding, and I could feel the aroma, the sweetness of the rose is slowly meandering as the lines move through from one side of the canvas, and they gradually move to the other, and they move across the canvas, and some of them are actually moving out of the canvas. And so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and so I felt the aroma. I mean, rarely when I see a work of art, I feel the other senses wake up, and so this painting, this made the sense of smell, the olfactory sense wake up, and I could smell the sweetness. So when you say that this was inspired from a cake that your friend from the desert, from the Middle East, that your friend sent, and you've expressed yourself. I would say that your expression has been more than successful because you've made a viewer smell the sweetness of the rose,
Yeah.
smell the sweetness of the cake. Thank you. All right. So with this note, Gusti will move to the next one.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So this
Ah.
one is seriously interesting. I'm literally mystified and enthralled with this one. It says, "Make history lines go viral." So in this painting has been titled "History Lines."
Three lines.
And
Yeah.
And the interesting story, I mean, it has such a fascinating story that you went around town into barber shops hunting
Yeah,
for human hair. And then
yeah.
how did you create this painting? Is this created using human hair, or did you use human hair as brush? And could you tell us about how this painting was created?
Yeah, I've told you that I went to many barbershop to collect hairs,
Mm-hmm.
and they asked me what what are you using that for?
Right.
I try to create something out of it before
Mm.
you throw it in the trash.
Right.
it, it worth nothing for you. Maybe it
Mm.
will be have a
It'll be
good
gone
benefit for
otherwise.
you.
Mm.
But something that is worries me about this hair. Uh, when you touch somebody else's hair, you can
Mm.
smell the fume of dead people.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then
All right.
you suddenly
I can see you there. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. You see his back, so I'll add him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I guess you got disconnected for a minute. All right. So we will come back to our discussion. Yes. So you were saying that uh, when you touch someone's hair, you get a feeling of you're getting fumes of dead people.
yes, yes, that
Mm-hmm.
somehow give me a goosebump and
Okay.
a little bit creepy actually.
Okay.
And I didn't touch that hair. I put it
Right.
on the ground
Mm-hmm.
for a while,
Okay.
but somehow some seed of chili pepper growing,
Mm-hmm.
and he growing very very you know rapid, yeah, rapidly.
Okay.
Grow. I I realized that this bunch of hair that
Mm-hmm.
help the growth of this seed
Okay.
of this pepper, chili pepper. And
Okay.
then something crossed on my mind that there are mummy, mummy, yeah, with hairs,
Mm-hmm. Mom, yeah, yeah, mommy. Yes, yes.
yeah, dead people with hair,
Right, right,
and they last for centuries.
right. So they last through history. Yes.
Yeah, they last through histories, and also in some culture like the voodoo.
Okay.
Yeah, this like called something like that in the Balinese old ancient culture. We have also this black magic. They using
Voodoo. Voodoo. Yes, yes.
yeah, people hair to call for the spirit.
Right.
That makes me more creepy,
Okay.
and then I should uh, deal with this feeling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I took the hair, and then
Right.
I put on the canvas with glue,
Wow. Okay.
one by one. I made all actually two of this.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that's the journey I have to
Wonderful.
go
I mean, not
to.
only is it a journey through history, it's also a journey of conquering your fear because you're
Yeah,
afraid, right?
yes, yes, exactly. I was afraid of it because
Right.
when you smell different hair has a different fume,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that the hair is living,
Right.
even the people is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, and if you dig deeply into the human hair, you can see the codes of the DNA,
Right, right.
and it also contains the history of the human living.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a hair is actually a line of history. So
Yes.
when you got all, they have hair follicles, the strands together. So you've basically accumulated the history of hundreds of people, and you've restored and you've actually, you know, restored these historical strands for eternity. That is what you've done
Yes.
with this.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I mean, it's fascinating, Gusti. I mean, I when I was thinking to myself that like why hair, and I now I realize now that it is your inner journey of conquering your fear. It is also a traditional journey to actually take something which is taboo, take something which is usually
Yeah.
wasted, and take it and to turn it around to to great art. So I love this. Okay. So, with your permission, Gusti, we'll move to the next one.
Okay. Okay.
All right. This is the last one, and it is in.
Already?
Yeah, this is like the fourth piece of art that we'll discuss today, and this is gigantic. This is such a huge canvas where you have you know thousands, millions of intricate lines and negative spaces. They talk to
Yeah.
you, and the blue spaces they stand out. So tell us a little about this, because I know that you've told me that you created this on the Balinese New Year, the day when
Yeah.
the day of stillness, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So tell us, please.
Yeah. The blue spaces between us. It is 4 meters wide, and then 1.5 meters high. It's quite
Mhm.
big with this particular uh, technique that I am using. It was
Mhm.
in the Balinese New Year in somewhere in March. Balinese New Year is about the ninth new moon. Yeah,
Okay.
so there is no moon,
All right.
and we celebrating our New Year every time in March. Yeah, in
Okay.
every year. It's
Okay.
like the lunar calendar. And then at that moment, it was the time when our governor, Bali governor,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like this, you know, announcement about this pandemic.
Right.
It's supposed to be only a day still,
Okay.
but the governor decided to make it 2 days.
All right. 2 days
Only
of
this year,
complete stillness.
2 days stillness. You cannot
Okay.
go nowhere. Only stay in the house, and then yeah, no lights, no music, no sound, no
Okay.
everything. If you search in the Google, you can see the Balinese still day.
Okay.
It makes me wonder what is going on, you know. But somehow it gives me also the time to permit myself to do just nothing
Mm-hmm.
except painting, of course.
Right.
And then I sat down, and then I start to painting this big canvas. But the canvas is already prepared a weeks earlier. Because, yeah. And then this, you know, pandemic getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make myself also start to thinking about what is going on, and then yeah,
And
it
so those
create.
swirls, those lines, they start appearing, and they get more complicated as the pandemic gets
Yeah,
worse. Right.
But actually, at that time, we have no idea what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
We still thinking that this virus is some kind like another epidemic, like you
Mm-hmm.
know, influenza for the avian influenza,
Right.
like uh, SARS or
Mm-hmm.
MERS, something like that. Perhaps it would be only a few weeks, a few months, and then will disappear.
Right.
But suddenly, we are speaking this until now.
True. Yes. 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 And so, what are the blue spaces between us? Is it the distance between, say, two people, or the distance between our minds, or is it the distance between two lines of yours here? What are the blue
Yeah,
spaces?
the blue space is between us. Like, uh, when you draw lines and then it follows by another lines, and then
Hmm.
suddenly between them there will be spaces.
Wow. Yes, the
When you
negative space.
see, yeah, when you see that spaces, and then it become a lines, another lines that appear.
Yes. Yes.
You don't created them, but he appear himself like that
Hmm. Right.
out of the blue, yeah. Because
Oh, okay.
I think the blue and the space is like this cosmos itself.
All
You
right.
never know what is going on. You only
Yes.
see what you want to see. Only see
Right.
yourself with another self that is intertwined, and sometimes you cross to another path. Somehow you have to take distance.
Hmm.
You don't want to make a contact by this situation,
Right.
social distancing, like that.
I mean,
That is
this is
what.
so metaphysical when you say that it is like the galaxy. It's almost like the universe is a space between two lines. I mean, maybe the universe was created like when you draw two lines, like you say, the negative space creates its own lines. The line appears on itself. So maybe the universe was actually created between those two lines. I mean, it's like an empty space, and then suddenly the universe comes out of that. This is fascinating, Gusti. I'm having the time of my life. This is incredible and it's so poetic.
Yeah, because universe is like, yeah, like that. You know, when two forces are equal,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have to stay distant
Right,
to keep their existence.
right, right.
If they come to each other, they will be
Collision,
yeah, yeah,
right?
like that. And they have to make
Wonderful.
this.
Yeah.
They destroy it.
Yes.
They destroyed each other, and they have to, you know, uh, make this conf- yeah, like this,
There
yeah,
has to
like
be a space between
alliance.
them.
Yeah,
Yes. Because it's like two planets. I mean, the two planets are say two planets are going through their orbit. So there has to be a gap. Otherwise, the planets would collide, right?
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, thanks to that little gap, thanks to a cosmic gap of maybe thousands of light years, when the stars they move around, or the planets they move around, and galaxies they turn in their own orbits, thanks to the spaces between them, that they stay alive and they don't collide with each other, and basically the universe goes on, the universe lives through the spaces. So
yeah,
so that is so fascinating, and that has come out so beautiful. So when I look at this, I can actually stand in front of this canvas all day looking at this, and then feeling like I'm looking at the galaxy and looking at the universe. Thank you so much, Gusti. So with
yeah.
this these are the four beautiful artworks that we've that Gusti has taken us through. This one is called Blue Spaces Between Us. This one is Make History Lines Go Viral. This one is called Desert Rose, which where you can actually smell the desert rose and smell the sweet aroma of the cake. And this one, it's called Given Identities, Make Given Identities Go Viral. So when Gusti started developing his new technique and he created this, he could feel the sense of unease. And when he stood away from this canvas about a distance of 2 meters, he felt like he was standing in front of the sea. And this technique got hold of him and he started creating more such art. And we're grateful. This is so good. And so just let us come back to our normal self. Yes.
Okay. We have talked about 1 hour.
Yes, we've spoken for an hour. So right now there are two things which I would, two last questions which I would ask you.
Okay.
One question would be, what would be as an artist right now, what would be your message to artists, to other artists across the world, artists who watch it?
Okay. Message, yeah. Yeah. I, as an artist, maybe you are born with this curse
Ah,
that you only can pass this life only by creating.
right,
When you're not creating, you will be reborn.
right,
You are not free from your curse.
right,
That
right.
is
So it's,
why,
it's a cross that you carry. I mean, you'll always have to create as an artist. Yes.
yeah, that is why when you have this chance of to create, don't waste it. Don't waste it. Every moment, every time is necessary. Every moment is a blessing. And when you want to being in this time moment, uh, creating,
Right.
that the only thing you can do.
Wonderful. Yes, yes, yes. So one has to be true to your curse, and you have to keep on creating. I mean, that is Gusti's message to all the artists across the world, and we love that. And lastly, Gusti, I would ask you, the question which I asked to every artist I speak to here, that in hashtag Go Viral to Stop the Virus, it's an initiative that we've begun. In this initiative, we talk to artists, we talk to musicians, we get them under one roof by asking them to create beautiful art, and we ask them to translate the shape of the virus in various different ways. And we also invite artists from across the world, and we invite and we tell them that we can feature your art, and we can show the world how beautifully have you been creating your art during the pandemic. So uh, we've invited you today, and your art has enthralled us, and you're also part of hashtag Go Viral to Stop the Virus. And so, thank you. So, I would ask you, what message do you have for me as we go through this initiative?
Yeah, I'm very happy, blessed, with what you're doing, and I just like looking into the mirror that the spirit never dies.
Right.
Go viral to stop the virus. Actually, give the new meanings of the new normal. That we
Right.
start to seeing people not only by the border, the
Mm.
boundaries. People start to looking the very meaning of the humanity through your initiative. That is
Right.
amazing thing that you done,
Thank
uh,
you.
and keep going because I cannot do what you did. I only can painting, and then go viral to stop the virus is, I think, the new normal. It's very
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And of course, I believe, all the artists, like right now, we have more than 2,500 people, artists, musicians, children, homemakers, IT workers, like people from all courses of life have contributed to this collaboration. And all of them, you know, uh, they're extremely able people who have actually stood up during the pandemic and have showed the world that they can actually be positive while the world was being
yeah.
taken apart by the virus. And so I'm glad, and I'd like to thank you so much for being here. And my wife Sunrita Chaudhary, once she wrote in the chat box right now. I mean, she's asking us to zoom in to one of your paintings, which is the painting of the hair. I mean, where you've used your hair. I mean, hair follicles. So I'll take a quick. I'll share the screen quickly once more, and I'll
Okay.
try finding it. 1 second. Yes. So here it is,
Yeah. Human hair.
and let me zoom in a little bit. Yes, yes. So I can see the strands, the various strands. We can see glue. We can see even various strands and details and the clumps and wow. All right. So this is how it is. And well, amazing. What can I say? I mean, I must say that you amaze me with your ingenuity. You literally amaze me with your patience. And okay, Sunrita wants us to zoom in a little more. She wants to see a little. I mean, I would like
Right.
to ask: do you have the painting with you at home, or is it anywhere else?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's a big. I have to carry it.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so what I'll do is so are you using a laptop which you can carry, or is it attached to wires?
It's very dark outside.
Oh, I understand. So it'll be difficult. So what I'll do is I'll zoom it from here once more for Sunrita. All right, so here it is, and this image. Okay, here comes. Well, this is about how I can zoom in. This is not a very high resolution image, but
Yeah.
yes, this is the maximum I can zoom in here. And yes, you can see the curved locks here. You can see the various different textures,
Yeah.
and you can see these white things are the gum, right?
Yeah. The glue.
The glue. Yes, and you can see parts of the canvas here. So it is enthralling, and it is it is to some extent it is I don't know, it makes me feel, and it makes me feel it's so organic. I mean, it makes me feel elemental. So Sunrita
Yeah.
says, "Thank you so much." I mean, she's happy with the way we've displayed it. Good enough. And Sunrita, do you have anything to say to Gusti? So if you want to write it, then we'll conclude the interview with your message to Gusti.
Okay.
So let's see what she writes.
Uh,
All right, it's taking a little time to comment because of the lag, I guess. But anyway, she's my wife, and she thanks you, and she thanks you a lot for your amazing art. Both of us, we're big fans of your work, and I would like to thank you from all our viewers, and I would like to tell you that you're amazing. Keep creating and keep enthralling us with your work. Thank you so much, Gusti. Today we'll take your leave. Thank you. You have a wonderful day. And to all our viewers from hashtag Go Viral Stop the Virus, please keep watching these interviews because we'll do more. We'll connect with more artists, and we'll connect with musicians. We'll connect with wonderful people around the globe. And thank you so much. Bye bye.
yeah.
Thank you.